Hey, it's Cliff, and I've been getting a lot of different questions about how you can generate yield on your cryptocurrencies, especially with the SEC going around and shutting down most CeFi exchanges for people who are not accredited investors. So in this video, I started using Midas Investments. Been using it for about a month just to kind of get a review on it and to see how I liked it or not. And in this video, I'm going to do the pros and the cons that I've found of this CeFi slash kind of DeFi exchange. So if you do the risk analysis between the pros and the cons and you find that this is something that you want to use, I will leave a link to it down in the description. But let's go ahead and get into the pros. I'm gonna start off on a positive note. So looking here, I want to kind of emphasize APY versus APR. APY is your annual percentage yield, which takes into account compounding interest. So it's going to be a higher number than compared to your APR, which is just your percentage rate that you would get throughout the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to APR because this is what most people are going to be thinking. They're thinking, hey, I have this amount of Bitcoin. How much can I generate a year? But just know that they pay out daily, so your amount that you're going to have is going to go up every day, which means your yield is going to increase. So it looks like the lower number, but this is actually a better way to visualize what you have and what you'll earn. So just to start off, Bitcoin 12.2%. Now, personally, that's a good amount for your Bitcoin. It's definitely what I've found in this exchange is the numbers are really high. So I'm putting that in the pro category, but for some people that kind of scares them. Like, how are they making these yields? These are very high numbers, especially when you look down at Ethereum. It's 16.6%. If you got Tether, they're giving you 18%, which that's kind of normal. Their token, their Midas token here is 26%. USDC, they're giving 18.2%. Chainlink is 8%. Litecoin, they do 1%. That's like nothing. I don't know why you would put Atom on this platform when you could just stake it yourself. 6.8% for that. So there's not a lot of options, but for people that are looking to kind of like move over their blue chip kind of cryptos, like BNB is 10%. That's a pretty good amount. This is a good platform for that. The rates are great. So don't tell the SEC right now because you can make a lot of money here. But one of the things that they do, if you click YAPs here, this is what I actually like about the platform. So it states these YAPs. They're called yield automated portfolios. And what it is you can earn passive income up to 21% while holding a portfolio of your favorite assets. And if we go down here, it says, what are yield automated portfolios? The YAP is a first of its kind cryptocurrency investment opportunity. Each YAP holds a basket of select assets tailored for a different strategy. By investing in a YAP, you can take advantage by earning attractive returns on each of these investments, weathering market volatility through Midas monthly rebalancing approach, and hedging your returns on any single asset by diversifying into a basket of assets. So blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's a mutual fund. So again, don't tell the SEC because they're going to shut this thing down really quick. But this is the only place that I know that this is going on where they're essentially just doing a mutual fund. And it's freaking awesome because what we know is DeFi has the highest rates, but there's a lot of people out there who don't want to actually search through every exchange, sign up for different DeFi platforms to try and get the highest yield and then move everything all around. Basically what Midas is doing is they're saying, hey, we'll do all of that for you. You just put money into this YAP and we're going to do the work. So I'm sure they make money, take a cut somehow, but for the piece of just not having to do research, I'm sure a lot of people would love this. So this is probably the number one thing, in my opinion, if you want to get into this. This is pretty cool. So they have two different YAPs. There's the DeFi YAP right here, which is divided into 8 different cryptos. They got Ethereum, their Midas Coin, Chainlink, Phantom, Avalanche, Binance Coin, DAI, and Convex finance. And obviously that's going to be divided up into 12.5%, and the yield on that is 21%, and that's APY, just to point that out. So essentially how it works is you're going to onboard like Bitcoin or something, you're going to swap it for this YAP token, and then the YAP token is taken and they kind of trade this for you and they rebalance everything so you can come out to earn this 21%. There is also what they're calling a stable YAP, which is a little bit more conservative. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, and Midas. It's all 25%, and you're gonna earn 20.3 APY. So the only thing I don't like about this, they're using Tether. Granted, Tether is probably not gonna collapse tomorrow, but that is a can that we kind of kick down the road. Eventually, Tether is gonna blow up and destroy the cryptocurrency market for a while until it recovers. That's just my opinion, but Tether isn't necessarily safe, in my opinion. But yeah, so pretty much they just rebalance these for you, kind of takes all the work out of it for you. One thing I noticed, I scrolled down here, are there any fees associated with holding a YAP? And it says none. The monthly rebalancing is performed by the Midas team at no cost to the investor. Well, one of the ways how they're making money is when you say you onboard your Bitcoin and you want to switch it to this YAP token, that's where they're charging you a fee. That's how they're making their money. But when I looked at the fees, they weren't really that bad, but they're going to charge it to you twice because you're going to have to offboard as well. So you're going to switch from the YAP back to your Bitcoin and then withdraw. Of course, they're going to get some money there as well. But like I said, the fees weren't really that bad. So for me, the pros, these YAPs are really cool. It's less effort, if you want to use that, or even if you just want to use like the Bitcoin, they were earning, it's 12.2%. So that's really good. Even if you just want to, hold Bitcoin or your Ethereum maybe here, that's pretty good yield. So really, yeah, that's my pros. They got good rates. It could change, of course, but right now they got good rates. And I like this concept of having these YAPs, which are just essentially mutual funds. Let's be real. So things I don't like. When it comes to their community, they're not really on Reddit much, which is definitely a platform I like to use. They're not really on Twitter. What they're using is Discord. And maybe Discord is something you like. Personally, I hate Discord. I just, there's so much spam and garbage on it. And plus, to me, using Discord for having all your public announcements is just it's a little bit shady, It's a little off to me. They do also send you the emails of all their updates. They have newsletters, things like that. But if you want to get the updates firsthand, they're really active on Discord. So let me go over there really quick, scroll to the top, and here is their FAQ. So pointing out number 2, obviously, it says, how often do you change the rate? Say if it's now 18% on ETH, how long usually the rate stays that? And they say the rates can change according to the market situation and real profits we make. However, we commit to provide the highest yields possible on the centralized market in given situations. So just because their rates right now are killing it, they're probably going to gradually go down just like any other exchange, which is good. You don't want them to over leverage or anything like that, or however they're making their yield. You don't want them to be too risky with your crypto, but right now seems to be fine. But within the next couple of months, I believe they'll tailor down a little bit. Moving on, how often is interest paid? Interest is paid daily. I think I mentioned that before. The dividends hit your account exactly in 24 hours after your first deposit. If you deposit some more, the time will remain 24 hours after your initial deposit. So I definitely like being paid daily. I prefer that. Where are you located? We are an international team spread all over the world. However, we are in the process of getting legalized in Switzerland and the Cayman Islands. So When I talk about the cons, Discord obviously being one, they don't have a license right now, which is definitely sketchy. You got to kind of think if it's worth it. They're working on it. They're trying to get their license, but right now, just like any other exchange, the SEC could come in and shut this bad boy down. Let's just be real. Are there any restrictions or things the U.S. investors should keep in mind? We do not have any restrictions for any investors. You can use Midas Investments as any other crypto platform and apply the same rules to it. Keep in mind the laws in your state, of course. So right now it seems to be okay. You know, we'll see. Here is another con. Is there any audit done on your platform? Not yet. We're in the process of getting a license in Switzerland and the Cayman Islands. As soon as we are done with it, there will be an audit of all the necessary documentation. You can read more about it here. And then it kind of has, you know, some things going on where they're trying to obtain the license. So that's your huge con right there. They're not licensed. They haven't had an audit. So again, you're taking awesome rates versus, you know, a CeFi kind of DeFi company. So obviously you want to kind of weigh that. If you want to learn about their Midas token, I haven't really looked in it too much. They do have like the utility of the different, or the utility of their token. They have the max supply and everything. If you want to break that down, personally, I'm not really trying to get into the Midas token. I haven't done a lot of research. Maybe it'll be great. I don't know. It's something to look into for sure. So basically this is just saying they use Fireblocks for their custody. Most of these platforms are using Fireblocks. That's where all of these different exchanges are holding their crypto. They use Fireblocks. So that is their main place that they hold the crypto. And then it talks about risk here. I think that's that's pretty good to go over. Also, another con before I get into that, big con personally for me, they don't have a username and password system. What they want you to use is your Google account. So you would log in with your Gmail, which granted Gmail does have good security on it. I'll give them that. They have, you know, 2FA, and they'll let you know if someone tries to log in from a different location, you know, things like that. But personally, I don't want to use my Google account for this. My Google account, it's not for investments. It's just, that is something that is too easy for someone to get a hold of and potentially take all your money. So from what I read, they're working on it. It's supposed to be out in spring, but again, that's a huge con for me. So just to get into it, it says, in terms of using Midas, your risks are hack of your Google account. Of course, that's what I just mentioned. But it does say, like I said, they're trying to get their own account system to come out in spring. Number 2, hack of the platform to manipulate balances or abuse bugs, which that could happen anywhere. You know, of course, anytime any exchange could be hacked. Hack of our infrastructure. It says they are using Fireblocks and hierarchy of multi-sig vaults. So to me, that's not quite an issue. And then it also says for number 4, investment process failure. There is no current black swan event that could lead to a major portfolio loss, liquidation, or any sort of major event with the portfolio. So obviously this isn't a loan platform, so no one's really going to get liquidated. You know, we're not really worried about that. Another con, I'm giving you all the cons because that's what you really need to know. So this is an issue with some people. Some of their employees are from Russia, and they have immigrated to different locations. I'm not really sure where, but originally they're from Russia, and with the current things going on, that kind of is sketchy to some people. So if that is you, I want to give you the full details. It says, how is the war going to affect Midas operations? Midas as a company has nothing to do with Russia and has never worked under the Russian jurisdiction. We are an international company. Our license in the process in Switzerland. Like I said before, the only thing that's connected to Russia is that some of our teammates are Russian. However, they have all relocated to another country at the moment, so no sanctions can affect them as individuals. But we also have teammates from the US, EU, UK, and Asia. Midas is aiming to be an unbreakable system that can overcome any black swan events. Apart from that, Trevor, who I guess is like their CEO, he is going to get his citizenship in Israel, so there will be no ties to Russia at all. And that's a major concern to some people. Their CEO is from Russia. He's immigrated to Israel, and he's trying to get a citizenship there. So I know even when I was kind of promoting Celsius, people were kind of sketched out that their CEO is from Ukraine. That was an issue. I didn't see the issue there, but some people did. So if you have an issue with people from Russia that have immigrated, that's something I want to make you aware of. Another thing, they're using DeFi, like I said, but it's a CeFi platform, so you will have to KYC. If that's something you care about, then this platform is not for you, because they're not going to let you use the platform if you don't do the KYC. So if you're trying to avoid taxes or just whatever, be anonymous with your crypto, for you think that's your freedom or whatever, can't use this platform because they will definitely try to verify you. And then at the bottom, it kind of talks about their swap fees. This is what I mentioned. They're not making money on rebalancing the YAP tokens, the mutual funds that I mentioned, but they make their money from swapping the cryptos back and forth. So you can see down here, Bitcoin, they're charging 0.3%. So that, to me, that's it's not really a big deal, especially when you could be making 20%, to even if you just had Bitcoin, you could be making, what was it, 13, it was 12.2 APR. So obviously you're gonna make that. That's not a big deal. Altcoins are 0.6%, and altcoins to Midas is 1%. That's kind of high. But again, like I said, I'm not using Midas token, and I think it's not really that high because their Midas token is getting 26%. So you could easily manage that if you structured it right. So yeah, stablecoins are classified as alts, so they are also going to be charged 0.6%. So you got to think, you're swapping in and you're swapping out, so you multiply that by 2. I don't believe they have a fiat on-ramp or off-ramp, so you would take whatever you swapped in, you can swap to whatever, and then just swap it back to a different wallet that has on and off boarding to turn back to fiat, whatever. But I think that's pretty much it for all the pros and cons that I found from this. Overall, I think it's pretty good. There's definitely some cons where I'm like, hey, this is kind of sketchy, but I'm hoping as this exchange kind of develops, they're gonna kind of get a username and password kind of system going on. They're gonna overcome this Russia stuff, hopefully. They're gonna work out all the kinks, and this is gonna be a good exchange for earning yield. And hopefully, like I said, probably 3 or 4 times in this video, the SEC doesn't come in and destroy this exchange. So if this is something you mess with, let me know what your opinion of this was. If it's not, you want to try it out, I'll put a link in the description, and comment down below. Let me know what you think. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching.